NBC is perhaps one of those SOEs where the public has quite a keen interest in, be it their finances, be it their decision to go on strike, questions about will they switch us on, will they switch us off, will they show the Chula Chula and African Stars game, but all kinds of questions draws the interest to NBC. Well, behind the scenes, there's a team leader who always makes sure that those questions are answered, the team is set, and the ball or the airwaves are on. And that's the Director General himself here today talking to us as Editor-in-Chief of this, yet not problematic, but the most loved SOE. And that's DG Similo. Mr. Similo, thank you so much for talking to us.
Yes, thank you, Blanche, and also thank you for quite an exciting introduction.
Not problematic, but
no,
most loved.
It's not problematic, and you're right. I think the love that Namibians have for the NBC is as such that, as they say, there's a fine line between hate and love, but I think it gravitates more towards the love side of it, yeah.
Because as soon as the NBC announces that we will not broadcast A, B, C, and D, it's the entitlement just comes through among Namibians. Why?
They want to know why and why not. And even if you do, they still want to know why. You know?
Yes. Now, DG, Editor-in-Chief, this year has been a mouthful for the national broadcaster. Starting from launching new products, starting from, you saw the hype around the opportunity that came with acquiring Miss Namibia and everything else. So it wasn't a smooth ride, but you and the team pulled it off. So in terms of the performance, we are at the end of the year now. In terms of the performance, how would you rate the broadcaster's performance with all that it has set itself up for this year?
Yeah. No, thank you very, very much, Blanche, for that position and question around that as well. I think let me start off by basically just applauding everybody within NBC, irrespective of level. Sometimes, and at the best of times, at our level, we would seem to be great. And if you don't pronounce that, you appear to be tall because you're standing on shoulders of giants, and those giants are everybody, all the employees, then you would be failing from a leadership perspective to recognize that you are because we are. So as a CEO, as an MD, as a DG, where there's a people-intense activity, there's no way that you can make things happen, and you need to recognize, and through that really it's just recognition to all staff within NBC. And linked to that then, of course, is also the support from the board as well. As you know, NBC is one of those SOEs that have not been mired in problems with board members fighting public spats and all of those. But to come back to the performance of the NBC, let me start off with the most basic one. You know, Namibia as a country in terms of media freedom has been rated being #1 on the continent. So that naturally denotes that the NBC, for both its offerings, radio, TV, and online, is playing quite a role in that regard as well. So I believe that we are really doing great because we've introduced quite a lot of new things within our broadcast offering as a whole, to the extent that even the recently launched new programs, they have so much of traction that everybody is just there. They want more and they want more, and that we must do. So in terms of our own performance and really being critical, I would say that we've really been doing quite well, despite the challenges.
Yes. And one of the challenges, DG, which is not unique to NBC, are the finances. Every time we as broadcast or being in the news business, not just on television but also radio, every time one listens to and as when SOEs are mentioned, the issue of bailouts or requesting additional funds from government comes to mind. So in this particular instance, this this year, DG, did NBC really go begging to government, seeing that we have introduced program offerings that have received praises even from the highest office and so on? So did we really go begging, or did we make do with what we had in the coffers?
No, we did not go begging, because the approach taken was that, look, it wouldn't matter what we do, we will have to make do with what we have. And part of what we've instilled was to say that, can we look at things differently and do the same, more with less? And that formula seems to be working for us. And then I must probably also just need to clarify again the issue of bailout. I particularly have a view on that. If I as an SOE needs 100 million to do business, and you give me 100 million, and I happen to squander it in that particular period, and then I go back for more, that should be seen as a bailout. However, if I need 100 million, and you give me 45 million, while I caution you that the funds will run out before that time, and I go back, that can never be a bailout. Because right from the onset, 45 is not 100. Mm-hmm. That distinction is quite important. So insofar as the NBC is concerned, remember we are a non-commercial SOE, but we're very proud in saying that we make 90 million plus as a non-commercial entity. And those are some of the things that sometimes don't play out in the main, that people do not talk about. And these are all positive things. And also when we look at aspects of products that we are bringing out, there's so much of great things that we are doing. That is why at every corner people want more. Like as we speak now, NBC 1 and NBC 2 on television is HD, high definition. We are taking these steps, small steps, but the impact is huge.
The impact is
and
huge.
If things go well in terms of the planning that we are having, between April and June of next year, we should at least be having 7 HD channels in totality. And if we look at radio for me has always been the flagship of what we do within NBC. And the reason why radio is so critical is that it speaks to everybody from a cultural perspective in a language that everybody understands. Of course, television is nice, but television is very, very, very expensive.
Expensive, but the television has also let its presence felt this year, especially with the crossovers, not just within Namibia, but outside the country as well. You yourself was interviewed from Botswana live, where Namibians could hear the message and so on. So in this particular case, DG, or the editor-in-chief, will this trend continue? Seeing that you just spoke about on the new channels, will we have content on the new channels using crossovers?
Naturally, it's a given. Remember the current board, when they came on board, the chairperson made a statement on behalf of the board saying that part of what needs to happen moving forward from a strategic perspective, the NBC must become a tech-savvy entity. So we are just actually giving life to that as well. And also we are this close to having NBC 1 or 2, depending which way we would go, to be a 24-hour current affairs program that runs daily. That is why we can now, and you rightfully, you've hit the nail on the head to say that we can at any time now go into any live production at any given time, to the extent that we can actually run up to 6 live productions, where we would have 2 linear, which is traditional TV, and then the 4 could be any form of live running on online platforms. So we've been working towards that, and the nice thing is that, and when you guys are also going abroad, you can report real time in terms of what is happening anywhere. The only thing that is a little bit still problematic for us in the country is the access to internet, access to stable bandwidth as well.
Connectivity.
Once that is taken care of, there is no reason for us why we cannot be live from all over the country, reporting and giving people sort of like information. And we are very proud of that. Maybe it's our mistake, we don't talk about the great things that we do. But I'm happy that you are picking that up. But what I know is that mainstream Namibia started to see these things, because individually people will come and say, oh, DG, NBC, you guys are doing great. And I'm saying, no, don't whisper in my ear.
Go out there. Maybe
it's time that you just say things. But remember now, as Namibians, we sometimes marvel in being a negative space. And I think that is something that we must learn really to get out of.
Forgetting that we are from the land of the brave. Well, the DG, we will delve more into the tech-savvy aspirations of the NBC when we come back, because I'm curious to know how the missions abroad are watching our programs. You have the answer.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We are still dissecting the affairs of the national broadcaster that has so much potential, and slowly but surely this egg is hatching. And the Director General, the Editor-in-Chief, speaks about that. DG, I'll have you here for the holding. Well, I'm sure that during your travels to other countries, DG, people, your counterparts have been asking you about the new product, the NBC Plus, whereby you just explain to them that by a touch of a button or click of a button, you can watch our programming. So talk to us about this famous product that everyone would call us to. It's no longer a thing of Blanche or DG, the 8 o'clock news is not on, I cannot see. No, now it's a thing of my NBC Plus, I don't know, but it's showing, but then, so just talk to us about this exciting product.
Yes, look, that introduction is I think it's most probably one of the greatest interventions, stable for that matter, that we've brought. Remember 2018, we launched a similar product, but sometimes being first does not help you. We ran into a bit of problems. And then at the time I told the team, I said, no, let's pack this thing. Let's unpack it so that we can fully comprehend how it's supposed to work, so that it can become available to all. Now, this year in September, after a test period of about 3 months of technical testing, we took that step to say now we are fully launching it. And where are we today? It works wonders. First of all, the diplomatic linked Namibians that are serving Namibia outside the country, they can now, if they sit in their offices or at their houses, where in whatever country they would be, with smart TV, if they switch on, it will be like they are sitting somewhere in Namibia.
Yep.
It would only be when they step out of the house that the surrounding will sort of like remind them that they are not there.
They are not
and that's
there.
what we've been doing. And these are people that are quite important for Namibia, because they're doing business on behalf of the head of state,
the country,
and by extension on all our behalves. So if they can't see and hear what is happening in real time, that deprives them of understanding what there is. And this appreciation came through about 2 months back. I was invited. I think there was a meeting of all diplomats under the office of our minister responsible for MIRCO. And where that appreciation came through, in that it wouldn't matter now where Namibians are, they can actually be part of what is happening in Namibia. And we are very proud of that. The next element that we are dealing with is still linked to bandwidth, internet connectivity. We're pushing for a regime where connectivity must not become a prohibitor, because it's internet based. And that is why people now are saying, yeah, but put these things on Facebook. And we are saying, no, but we've created the same platform. Ours is called NBC Plus. And that is what we as Namibians must also do. We must also always find ways of gravitating towards supporting that which is local. So there's still a little bit of withdrawal symptoms for those that are used to the Facebooks. Remember, if we put our streams there, we're not gaining anything. And at the same time, there's also the expectation that the NBC must raise own income. So the more we can use NBC Plus, we can actually build a value proposition that will work for everybody. Now the next question is that, will it be for free? Well, let's see what happens in the next couple of months. But for now, let Namibians enjoy. And even if some form of payment will come to that, it will be very, very, very affordable. Because it's not about us wanting to make money, but just being able to recover cost in terms of what we do. But it's a great app.
And bringing services closer
Yes.
to Namibians. Well, DG, you also spoke about the local content and radio side of it not being left out. Here you have the Mukorop, you have the Molelo, and all the other short radio dramas to cater for the audience or the listeners on our indigenous radio stations as well as the national radio stations. So in this, talk to us more about those. Are those also for income generation, or is it for free, or is it just for enjoyment for Namibians and for us to have local content?
Yeah, look, it's part of us displaying and showing who we are. Because the more we show about what we are, the more embedded our cultures then become. And part of the molds that we've been breaking, and radio in this instance has done quite very well. In terms of local content on radio, I think we're surpassing 85% thereof. It's the TV side which has been problematic for us, but with all the plans that we are having now, the interventions that we are doing, we've seen a steady growth in terms of that becoming a reality. You will also remember that we assisted and worked closely with MultiChoice Namibia, where we produced 13 great films. And as NBC now, we are also now in the process of still going forward. I think in the new incoming financial year, we will either redouble those efforts on our own so that we can also create employment. Remember, for all the independent producers and directors, this is their work. So as NBC, we must make sure that we also create something that will make sure that it works for them. Same, we've been discussing with the Namibian Film Commission as well, as to see how best can we deal with all these things. So they are all over plans, and it's not for money making. It's part of us making sure that reflection on radio and TV and online is 100% Namibian and African for that matter as well. So for us, we see it as an extension of what we must be doing. Look, our programming is extremely serious. It's news and all these topics, discussion,
current affairs.
Very serious. So we need to start bringing in elements that will bring laughter to people. It wouldn't matter where. And at the same time, we must also not forget the tiny tots, because the idea is that catch them young and they remain part of who you are until they start earning money, and hopefully they can then start supporting you.
Now, DG, let me just take you back to the live streaming. I know you've explained, you've touched on it a little bit, but then this year has really seen NBC going all out to live stream almost every event, DG, and much to the applause of the public. Are we sustaining that in the new year?
We have to. Look, your challenge always is, the moment you set the bar there, you can't go lower than that. And our challenge, that what scares me sometimes, is that if we have to go higher, how are we going to get there?
How are we going to get there?
But the solutions are normally there. You sit with people, you discuss, and you say, look, this is what we need to do. Point being that we have to do better than what we've been doing. So that will be on the increase. And you would also have seen that the government also has their communication center as well, which also then serves as a means of informing people. So they are dovetailing with us, and through that, then Namibians also get to hear
the cabinet
what is happening. And that is very critical, because if we look at the Access to Information Bill, which our line ministry is responsible for, things of that nature must happen. Because if NBC does not display, for instance, what government is doing, Greater Namibia will not know.
Will not know, yes.
And sometimes people will say, yeah, but NBC is a puppet of government. That's nonsense. It's nonsensical. That does not exist. We are there to make sure that we inform people as to what we are doing.
And for some reason, DG, you have managed to shrug off that tag that was there of NBC being a puppet of government or being a mouthpiece of government over the years. So how did you do that?
You stand for what is just, and you stand for what is firm, and you keep to what is right for the country. Because I always tell people, even if I'm in my meetings, I tell the colleagues that, oh, look, it must always be Namibia first before we do anything else. And the best way of doing that is that we must do things that will show us that we are here. For instance, I get criticism from opposition parties. I get criticism from the ruling party, which is just. And I've always said that criticizing the NBC and talking to me about that, there's nothing bad in that, because that's the only way in which we will learn to understand what is happening as well. And then people will come and say, yeah, but you're showing a lot of SWAPO. I can challenge that. A minister sits in national position. That minister is national. He caters for everybody. He's not SWAPO. Yes.
Regardless of the political affiliation.
Via that. Now, my counter to that would be, so we have a deputy minister in health who's not from SWAPO. What are we saying there? Rather challenge me on core, looking at what a party is doing, link core to what a party is doing. So on that basis, I don't think if people are still wanting to criticize that would be fair, because the fact speaks very, very differently. And for that, I won't ever apologize, because I know that we're doing the right thing. That's why people like yourselves and the rest of the teams, you must go out there with pride, knowing that you're serving a country called Namibia.
And as long as the criticism is constructive.
Yes, we welcome it.
Well, DG, you spoke about how serious NBC business this year was in terms of just providing news, streaming all the activities, but then again there was the fun aspect. I'm looking at the trophies behind you, but I'm not going to say much right now. So we'll be right back, where we will dissect more about are NBC employees together with their Director General boring, or are they fun? Are they competitive, or are they just straight to telling you stories? We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are still talking NBC matters. This is a very serious business. When we broadcast, we are very serious. But then there's the fun aspect of it. Fun in the sense that we go out and win trophies. We go out and dance. I remember, DG, there was a time when we had to dance the Jerusalem, that challenge also. I think among the SOEs, we did quite good.
I missed my steps there.
You missed your steps, but we overlooked it because it's the DG, Editor-in-Chief. So, but this year the team, the sport coach decided that we need to bring trophies home. back to the Blue Building. So what was the secret? Did you tell them that should you guys not bring trophies home, there won't be salary increment, or what was the secret?
Look, on a serious note, NBC, like any other organization, remember we were also going through a very difficult time. And truth be told, at a time when I came into NBC, the environment was toxic.
Yes.
Let's just be honest, very toxic. To the extent that at one point I said to myself, have I made the right decision to come? But one thing that I've always known is that creating the right environment will change how people look at life.
The outlook, yeah.
And everything. And the reason behind that is that we spend more than 80% of our life at the workplace. So it has been a tedious project and process to get us to a point where we finally now can relate to us being at the NBC. One of the things that when I came here, which was for me quite strange, you would never find people carrying their NBC. People were hiding. And they would only know those that, like yourself, that are in front. But of late now, people have this pride in them where they would want to be there.
To wear the NBC gear.
Yes, and equally, we have so many people that want to come and get a job with NBC. So part of that process from human capital aspect was to say, how do we get us back to the old ways where we can just be happy, do our work and start
team
laughing?
Building.
Yes. Now through our social club, these initiatives then started coming. And I was also pleasantly surprised as well. Every time NBC would go and partake, we'd bring back trophies. To the extent, the last one was the MICT one. And NBC took all the trophies and I said, guys, do you want the minister to fire me or what? At least you could have lost 3 games.
At least.
The point being that the teams are going out, they are having fun, and they
go as a team.
Yes, and also we arrange the fun runs throughout the country, and not even that alone, even the aspects of us arranging gospel shows and things like those. This is how powerful this brand has become, and it's always been with the people. So what we've done right now is to get people to a space where they take initiative on their own. And when this type of suggestions are coming through, I approve them. Because the ultimate aim is that it creates an environment where people can just be themselves. I mean, we recently in Windhoek had the year-end function, and people dressed up, and some people I could
the Caribbean.
Yes, I could.
Where the colleagues dancing samba or yes, the Caribbean flair.
I passed 2 or 3 people said, DG, don't you greet me today? Okay, sorry, you look different. And that is what we want. We must have fun, whilst at the same time doing what we are doing, which is our job of making sure that we inform, educate, and entertain. And we're the biggest. And we've got to boast about this. Nobody can get us off this. If you stand in our way, remember it will be like you're standing in the way of a train that is running at a speed of 1,800 kilometers per hour. So your choices are 2. You step aside or we'll crush you.
Or if you can't beat them,
then you must join us.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for us, it's fun, really. You can see the trophies are here. So
one is for
we can brag.
tug of war. Yes. One is for soccer. I remember one of the gentlemen from MICT, they are busy with the project shooting the president's documentary, texted me that evening and said, Blanche, your people took all our trophies.
Yeah, we can borrow them.
And I said, all our trophies. Was it supposed to be yours or what? But nonetheless, the teams really put up a fierce fight.
Yeah, I'm busy now on the side speaking to our ED, Dr. Audrey Martin, said, Doctor, maybe you must come, I'll give you the secret of how you can win. Give us more in terms of budget, lose all our games.
There's always a catch. Now, DG, another competition that actually also put NBC on the pedestal was the Miss Namibia 2023. Everybody wanted to see. It's like this year's competition has really brought the pride of the nation back to the living rooms. Everybody wanting to find out when, how is NBC going to cater for the audience in terms of watching the Namibian contestant abroad. So it was really a pride for all of us, I must say. But talk to us about from the time that NBC just decided, okay, we need to bring the Miss Namibia organization back to NBC so that by extension it's owned by Namibians.
Look, it was by design. It was not a mistake. It really was by design. I, for one, remember I have been involved at a time when Michelle was crowned Miss Universe. And then after some time I left the NBC. And I think when I was away, there was a time, 2, 3, 4 years, NBC could not broadcast Miss Namibia. Even as an outsider, it hurt me so much that I said, one day if I come to NBC, it will be one of the things that most probably that I will work towards getting it so that we can have access to that. Because Miss Namibia, it's about Namibia and its people. So I joined as DG 2015. 2018, we acquired 30% of the pageant. And strategically, what that meant was that if the owners then would decide to sell, they would have to give the NBC first right to refusal. So when that offer came, I told my team, I said, this thing is here, we must buy it. So I went to board, spoke to the board said, take it. And then, of course, we needed to appoint someone who must lead the team as well. And then because Umbi was already representing us on Miss Namibia, because of the 30% shareholding, it was for me a natural choice to appoint her to lead the entity as the CEO. And then I told her, I said, you know what, Umbiro, this thing now being with NBC, we will have to go out of our way in making sure that people know what Miss Namibia is all about. And unfortunately, the transition came at a time when I think we had, is it Kesia? Just transitioning over. So we were still running with the old contract literally. But when Jamila came, that's when we had 100% control over what this pageant was. And we made sure that we rallied literally each and every Namibian to be part of this journey. And the nice thing is that there was this national awareness around Miss Namibia to the extent that at one point I thought we would take this thing. We would bring it back to Namibia. But all in all, we have managed, first of all, to tell people that Miss Namibia is yours. NBC is just holding it for you, is making sure that you know what it is. And then secondly, we've also brought in an element of pride in saying that irrespective as to who would be Miss Namibia, we must all rally behind. One of the things that's working against us is our population size, because within the pageant, there's the voting element as well. So what we would need to do, it means that we will just have to redouble our efforts of marketing so that we can get others outside Namibia as well to work with us as well. And for now, it really has worked very well. Same with the Miss Teens as well. The way the ladies articulate the things that they are saying, we are building a very positive girl child, and also showing others that if you support properly, you can create greatness within the girl child itself. Personally, I think my dream is fulfilled. Up to here, most will be up to whoever will come and take over from me.
Now that's the Miss Namibia organization, DG. Another which the NBC has taken over is, or remained with, is the Namas. That was the life and blood for many musicians in the country. So far, it's on hold, if I can put it that way.
Yes.
But then, what are the future
Yes,
plans?
it is on hold. We remember we were running this together with MTC. And when MTC decided they no longer going to be part of the Namas, we took a strategic decision to say that we will still continue and bring it back. Unfortunately so, COVID came.
Yeah.
And then COVID also created a lot of problems in terms of business.
Competing priorities.
Yes, which naturally then also created a sort of like a slowdown in terms of us being able to do whatever we would have wanted to do. And whether I should say fortunately or unfortunately, Miss Namibia also then became the thing. So unfortunately, Miss Namibia at the time became one of the competing aspects of business, which we now have. So speaking to the Chief Commercial Officer some time back and the rest of the senior leadership team as well, we are still on course because we believe that NBC as a medium is the one that is best placed for artists. So the numbers is still high on the agenda. So we're hoping to make a meaningful statement in the new year regarding that as well. But very importantly, we do need corporate Namibia to form part of what we do. Same as for the support for Miss Namibia as well. These ventures are money intense. So when we say to businesses, please become part of what we do, then we mean it sincerely. That is why Dep Marine is the key sponsor of Miss Namibia with all others around. These are entities that have shown that they believe in Namibia and they will be there for us. So we're hoping we'll get the same for the Namas as well.
So we just need to watch out for a major announcement regarding the Namas. Very soon we will have artists doing what they do best on the stage. And the DG will be there to dance and hand over the awards. But we'll be right back with more about NBC affairs, including Saba. Thank you for staying with us. NBC Speaks, and when NBC speaks, it's the editor-in-chief. We usually don't see him, but he's the one behind the scenes calling the shots. DG Similo, you are with us for the day. Well, this year, you've been smiling from ear to ear, be it for the new products or be it the teams bringing you trophies, gold trophies for that matter, and Jamila strutting her stuff internationally. You've been smiling. But personally, on a personal level, you've been re-elected as the SABA president. That's now the Southern African Broadcasters Association. So in a nutshell, what does SABA do and why is it such an important platform for a country like Namibia and an institution like ours?
Yeah. Yes, thank you for that one. Look, SABA is a platform originally where all public broadcasters come together, and then we share information around programs, particularly news and all of that. At this stage, we have a program called Ion SADC, which is being aggregated in Namibia, and then it goes to the rest of everybody else outside there. And then we also have a radio program called SADC 360, which is running from Maseru in Lesotho. Now, the importance of SABA is that it allows entities like the NBC to have stories that are coming straight from the region that we can broadcast on our platforms. And I also remember for many years, you would not find a story about Botswana, Zambia, on any of our platforms. You would find it on BBC, CNN, Sky, but then the narrative would be very different.
And then NBC will have to pay a subscription fee.
Yes. But now with this, we put our stories into a pool, and they are there for us to use. Very, very powerful. Linked to that, we also undertake training amongst journalists within the region. We look at new technologies. And Namibia is highly, highly, highly regarded at that level, because we've been managing, giving direction, and setting the course as to how Southern African public broadcasters should go. So for that, as a country, we should be feeling very, very, very proud. Outside Namibia, the view that these broadcasters are having in terms of what we do is so much so that I sometimes will ask, are these people just saying things? And when they tell you about the things that you do as an NBC, the things that they see, and particularly the leadership that we are giving as well within SADC linked to that, then you cannot but say, okay, could this be like the biblical thing where a Moses was never recognized in his own? And that's most probably the case. But we remain on course. We're doing the best that we can. And to coming back to the point that you've raised much earlier on, part of what we've also discovered, Blanche, is that public broadcasters are literally having the same challenges, the challenges of funding. We had a conference in Zanzibar not so long ago, and part of that was saying that governments should relook their funding models, because the public broadcasters, these are the platforms through which government can tell their stories, but at the best of times, sometimes you are being treated like you're a stepchild. And NBC is also not
spared.
Yes, of course. And it becomes extremely difficult. But at that level, we're doing well. The re-election, in fact, I was not planning to run. But I was told, you don't have a choice, you will remain the president. So it's a lot of work. People expect you to lead. People expect you to give direction, but for now we're doing very well. And linked to that, we also have technologically based partners that are part of what we do, like the Eutelsats, SES&M, Centec and them, the Intelsats, all these big entities. They are also part of what we do, because from a technology perspective, we must also leverage out of what they can offer to us as well. So as Namibia, I think we should be rejoicing on many of these things. And recently I was invited to Angola by the minister, yes, as in my capacity as president of SABA. And when I saw what was happening there, I was saying, yuck. You know, some countries are
really lagging behind.
Yeah, that one was, no. Angola's infrastructure is maybe 100 times better than what we are having here. And they've just been quiet. And this is what we are trying to do also now within the region, is to find ways through which we can all get to doing exactly the same, so that we can improve. But for now, things are working well. The SABA channel is this close. The only thing we need is just the connectivity.
Just aspect. The connectivity.
Yeah, but linked to that, just in short, is that, remember, there's issues of culture, there's issues of language, because within the region there's English, there's Portuguese, there's French, and then there's also Kiswahili, which is also coming through. So we're busy dealing with those. Hopefully we'll get them out of the way.
So now, DG, you've traveled in your capacity as the SABA president, but then again, you've also not left your team, your senior managers, or even just the juniors here behind. You've been sending them on benchmarking exercises to countries like South Africa, to Botswana, and so on. Would you say that those benchmarking exercises are starting to bear fruit for the broadcaster?
The impact was immediate. Like within a week after people came back, the first thing that I've seen was the transformation of the screen. Just like small things, because sometimes when we sit and say, please, can you do this? People then don't see that. But when the staff went out, they went to South Africa, Botswana and Eswatini, and they start seeing what people are doing. And then it's a matter of, but these are things that we can also do. If you look at our screen now, TV-wise, it has transformed. Look at Good Morning Namibia, there's greatness. Look throughout the day, there's greatness. And that is the positive impact as well. So in the incoming year, there's still a group of people that will be going as well, because sometimes you need to take people outside their own environment in order to appreciate what they have. Because for as long as you stay there, you would believe that what you are doing is not great until you see. And many said, yeah, but we are better. It's just that we're not applying. And when people came back, they just started changing these things.
The brand became more visible.
And the classic one is that I think there was a thing called the frog. It's a lighting device, which we said, no, it's no longer usable. They went to South Africa, the thing is working there. When the team came back, within 3 days, they had it back, and it's working now. You see, and these are the positive things about it. And just the basic demeanor of how people look into how these things are. And we did not just confine that to hardcore production. We also took support staff as well, like from HR, finance, and from the commercial side as well. And that's where now you start giving people value for who they are. And personally, I'm very happy.
And these benchmarking exercises were not just for traveling outside the country or to go to other stations like in South Africa and other countries. The managers also traveled within the country, going to our offices countrywide to impart a bit of knowledge or just to check up on the staff there.
Yes, of course. Very importantly for us as well. Remember, in country, we should be everywhere. We've got a couple of regions where we're still lacking, but that is something that we are dealing with from a shareholder perspective. And the beautiful thing for us is that our current executive director is really running with us on this one, to making sure that we get connectivity literally to all corners. And I must also commend our minister and also the Minister of Finance and Public Enterprise as well, because there is now the understanding that you need to support NBC in order for us to get there. We're just hoping that the other guys that are sitting in Parliament, first of all, they need to recognize what we are doing. I mean, we have a dedicated broadcast for them.
Both the National Assembly and National Council.
And these things are taken for granted. And these are great things. But you will never hear people praising you. Instead, what is the thinking? Let's look for everything that is a problem. To the point that sometimes when you hear the things that people are saying, then you ask yourself, which Namibia are we living in? And which NBC
are we working at?
You understand? So these are the things sometimes at the best of times that can be highly demoralizing. But the point is, at this level, I must remain focused so that we don't lose track of what we want to do.
Now, DJ, as we are rounding up this interview or these interactions with you, I can have you the whole day here. But yes, I know you are a busy person, busy making money for us and launching new products for us and so on. So going into the new year, or let me put it this way, DJ, from 2021, the year that was really tumultuous for the NBC, given the developments back then, including the strike. Some of us wouldn't have even had this opportunity. That is how tense the environment was. Still, you stood like a bull, led the team into 2022, 2023. Now going into 2024, what are the aspirations of the NBC? Will we still have this firm leader who will continue to launch products, who will continue to impart knowledge to management and by extension also the subordinates and so on? So what do you have in store for the broadcaster come next year?
Just to step back 2, 3, 4, 5 years, governance and reporting, we managed in terms of where we are now to get us from 2016 up to 2021 up to date from our finances, annual reports. These are all in. And that's a major achievement for us. That's one. Secondly, we are busy now with 2021, 2022, which should be finished within the next couple of days as well. And equally, we've managed to bring down, remember the pay-as-you-earn thing coming from 1996. The debt was standing at about 250 million. We are now standing at 178 million. That now includes penalties and all of those. All things being equal, the amounts that we need to settle with, it's about 40 million. And then the other amount around it gets written off. That is now, remember, government has given through public finance and public enterprise, there is still that window that is there. We are currently sitting to see how best we can do that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, Blanche, is very important. Not just for NBC. You get appointed as a CEO or an MD or a Director General. The first day you go into office, you inherit problems that have been there. And you know what that does is that you can't concentrate on things that you want to do. Because now you must deal with these legacy problems that have been there, as if they are your making. That is why today I'm very proud to say that in terms of where we are, we've taken care of most of the problems that were standing in our way. Hence, coming to your question as to what is to come that is new. The first thing that we need to do is all the new programs that we brought on board, like in the community, the Wheels of Justice, Situation Critical, the Daily Roundup, and of late the one in the chambers.
Yeah.
We've got to find ways, and loads of others, we've got to find ways of monetizing that so that we can up the element of own revenue generation. And that then also then speaks to, in our current ISPB, which is the Integrated Strategic Business Plan, part of what we've proposed to the shareholder was to say maybe we need to do away with the television license in its current form, so that we go to a levy-based type of charge-out fee, where people can pay a less amount, but that is collectible almost monthly, or whatever that would be. That naturally would then need a discussion at the level of Parliament and the laws being changed around the Act that is governing the NBC. And then equally, we would want mainstream Namibia to make use of our platforms in advertising their products. And I've started seeing now many of the programs that we've been having, there are ads that are running now in between. And that is a good sign of what we are doing. The only thing that we will stay away from wanting to make money around is our news. The news must be independent, it must be authentic. That is why today, because of people like yourselves, I'm so happy when a story is breaking. People will ask, what is NBC saying? Which is quite, for us, it's an accolade, because it means then people will come to us for validation as well. So the plans are clear. This is where we are, and we need to start promoting people like you as brands for the NBC as well. A Blanche, A Jonas, and Nilago, you name them. This is what we need to do. Same for radio as well. We must start doing this thing so that we up the value of who we are at the NBC. But today, I'm very happy because I think we're in good space. And I think the employees have been smiling since the year started.
So the bar has been set high.
Very, 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 very. And when they look at me this time of the year, there is something that they ask me without saying, which I won't mention the name, but but I've also said that, well, I also expect them to do something. Well, that's NBC. Our NBC staff will understand.
Well, we do speak in codes here at NBC.
The funny thing is, you will hear people coming, Gigi, how are you? Are you okay? And then I know where they are going.
Yeah, where the conversation is going. Well, thank you so much, Gigi. Thank you for having this sit down with us to just take us through the activities of the NBC, the ones that we know and the ones that are kept behind there. So, but thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. We're gearing ourselves for the elections. for the incoming year. But as a professional entity, this is part of our job. We will deliver like we did yesterday. So for us, and remember in our business, you are as good as the last delivery.
Yep.
You cannot boast about what you did great 6 months ago. It's about what you're going to be doing tomorrow. But all in all, we're in good space.
All in all, we are in good space. Me paraphrasing the DG.